You are listening to the B.I.G Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show. And we're up here. I mean, if you get a little shortened episode, it's because we spent half the episode reminiscing about the 1900s.
Right.
So
we
just
did an episode.
Hey man, we're live on YouTube right now. We'll be on all the podcast platforms, and if you have Spotify, you will get to see our beautiful faces and our brand new graphics, courtesy of my man Garland over there. What's going on, Garland? How you doing?
Little Jackie jacked up graphics, y'all. Don't be coming on YouTube looking for something real good. This is just a little cut and paste job. So give you boys some grace. Me and Calvin was recapping. I was telling him I went to my daughter's at AKA. And they have a crab feast, the chapter that she's a member of. My sister is also a member of this chapter. God sister, one of my close family friends, like a big sister to me, several other people as well. And so this chapter has a crab feast every June or so. And so we went to the crab feast last night, and you ran into some old friends from college and some other friends as all. And so shout out to the AKAs. They put it on. And so it was a great event, great music. Got out there, did my two-step, got a couple little line dances in and what have you. I saw the AKAs do their little steps, throw the pinkies up and all that stuff. A lot of little pink and green. Shout out to my man Larry Brown, one of my coworkers, one of my boys. I saw him. His wife is an AKA as well, and she's part of that chapter. And saw her last night as well. Shout out to them. A couple other people as well. And so, yeah, man, good times. About to head into travel season, and so looking forward to that and all those great things. What's going on with you, connoisseur of wine and cheeses and other things? This is a rarity on a Saturday. We ain't done Saturdays in a long time. And so, he had a cheese tasting the other night. I tried to get him on Wednesday, like, let's do Wednesday. He's like, oh no, I got cheese tasting. I'm tasting some fine port rinds and some red wines and everything. He probably was at Ditch Day. That's a big party here.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. And so, he probably had some, I think he had a couple cheese and wine events. That's why we had to do Saturday. What's going on with you, CLC?
Hey man, first of all, shout out to Ditch Day. One of my classmates, Demisha's, on top of that, I don't know if she's the creator, but she's one of the people that started that. It started in Lincoln Park some years ago.
Wow, they was doing it up in Lincoln.
Yeah, it was really small. It was just Social Security employees. Now it has grown to something huge. They actually partnered with Visit Baltimore and CIAA last year, and they had a Ditch Day during CIAA. So they do at least 2 or 3 a year. So shout out to them for the growth, and something that a lot of adults go to. It's always chill. It always looks like a good time. But I've never been. I've never been to
Ditch Day either. Yeah,
it's difficult to get tickets unless you know somebody or get them early. Them tickets sell like hotcakes. They hotter than the Jay-Z concerts in Brooklyn. So
right.
you, man, they go quick. But no, man, this is the beginning of like you said, travel for me and the wife. This is the beginning of some pretty packed weekends for us up into through the end of September, which would be our anniversary weekend. So today and tomorrow we have some events to go to. So I'm just getting ready for that. And no, I did not have any cheese and wine, but I am going to partake of some cheese and wine before we go to a cookout today because I don't want to eat too much. So I already got some wine chilling. If you must know,
right. Get the palate ready.
The day.
Get the palate ready. Y'all, he don't drink it. He swishes it in his mouth and then he spits it out. He's got a spittoon. He's a real I always forget the word. He's not a connoisseur. He is a connoisseur.
Sommelier.
Yeah, he's a real sommelier, y'all. So.
I told you I got a certificate a few years ago.
That's why I say he's a real sommelier.
But no, I did buy some aerators. I needed some new aerators. Our old aerators were getting a little gritty. So aerators, you put put on the top, and they're cheap
Teach
aerators, but they do the
teaches
job. You pour it in,
teaches.
it's the air bubbles that actually give you the flavor. If you don't have an aerator, when you open a bottle of wine, you should let it sit for a while.
Let
Even
it
if you
breathe.
pour the glass, let it sit, let it breathe, let those bubbles get into it. And yeah, it's the whole thing. But we're here for
Hmm.
sports. I'll get on the high society shit another time.
Telling y'all, wine and cheese. You need some wine recommendations. Come on over to the Facebook to the All Things Black and leave a question for Samaye.
Matter of
He'll
fact,
get
let
back
me
to you.
tell the wife right now to prepare a charcuterie board for when I leave here.
Exactly. Fine meats and cheeses will be waiting for CLC before he rolls out for the evening. Man, Giannis was traded to the Heat on a Monday night. The Milwaukee Bucks agreed to trade two-time MVP along with Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat for a gang of people. Four of their young players, three first-round picks, and they swapped a couple picks. And so, does this make the Heat contenders at least for the East?
Yeah, I mean they were contenders with just Bam alone. I think they make the finals. It wasn't last season, season before last. They not the NBA finals, but the Western Conference finals, or they were
Eastern
extremely close. I
Conference
can't Eastern
Finals. Yeah,
Conference finals.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but no, man, this actually bolsters them up. I think they're going to go after one more player. Rumors are that they may go after Trey, that's on the Wizards. But they go after one or two more players. But this is kind of Pat Riley's and the Heat's mo thing. I mean, you think about the years where they got Shaq to go with Dwayne Wade in his early years, and they won a championship. Of course, you think about the big three down there when you had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, and they won some championships. Now they're bringing it back around again. They tried to do it with Jimmy Butler, didn't quite get over the top, but they did have some success with him. So you get a guy like Giannis, another generational superstar, a obvious Hall of Famer, a guy that wants to win another ring that'll tell you it's not a failure if he doesn't. Come on, Giannis. But anyway, they'll yeah, I think this makes them a contender in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you look at of course we've seen what happened with the Celtics that now looking to trade Jalen Brown, but you got some teams in the Eastern Conference that are either on the rise or solid contenders. So yeah, this puts the Heat right back up there.
I look at it. Yeah, it puts them kind of like in the top five of the Eastern Conference. I still think Detroit is better. I still think Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah, I still think Cleveland's better.
Okay.
New York is better. I think the Celtics are better. But yeah, it puts them up there. My concern is they don't. Who's going to shoot the ball? Who's going to shoot the three? Because this is like a three game. They're going to need, at least a good shooter or someone
Yeah.
who's, fairly good to spread the floor for Giannis and for Bam to open it up so they can work on the inside or the mid range. And so that's my concern. They did give up a lot of young talent. This is definitely a win now trade. They're not thinking about the future. They gave up these young guys. I mean, come on, Tyler Hero, he was okay, but I mean, it's not like he was a world changer.
No.
And Jaquez, they gave him up. He seemed to be playing pretty well for them. But outside of that, the picks and all those things, that's basically saying we're not necessarily concerned about the future right now. We're trying to win now. And also Giannis is on the bad side of 30. He's heading down the hill. Usually production trails off after that. I will say this: ain't nobody gonna get no layups coming into the paint on them. You better jump high or you better throw it off the board because Bam and Giannis down low. There's going to be a block party most nights when you play the Heat. I just want to see what they add. They had a decent draft. Maybe they go out and get a couple free agents, shooters, and everything, and maybe that'll open it up. But I don't necessarily think that this move made them better than the Knicks. I don't think it made them better than the Celtics. But it did move them up from the bottom because the last couple of years they've been in kind of like a 7, 8, 9 type of position. They've been in the play in a couple years, and so this does help them elevate. And you never know what happens once the season starts, and injuries, different things like that. But I think it's good. He finally gets out, he gets to another team, and we'll see what happens with them. Now, the Celtics, their president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens, he said that forward Jaylen Brown, who was uh, uh, in trade talks. Boston was in trade talks with the Bucks, and Jaylen Brown was reportedly offered with 2 first-round picks for Giannis, but that trade was not accepted, and they went with Miami's. They're actively now shopping Jaylen Brown, who was an MVP candidate last year. And, the word is that they're looking for any team that's going to give them at least 4 first-round picks. They're 4 first-rounders. And so, one, why do the Celtics hate Jaylen Brown so much? And then two, is he worth 4 first-round picks?
So it's funny you say that. So I know the Celtics are actively shopping him around, but this isn't by choice. This is by force. Once you shop this man 2 years in a row, 2 seasons in a row, if I'm Jaylen Brown, which I'm sure he said, he was like, it's over. Y'all need to just get rid of me. You clearly don't want me. Jaylen
Right.
Brown has to be the most underrated and overrated player at the same time.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I mean. Underrated by the Celtics because they feel like he's a trade piece. This man was your Finals MVP. He
Yes.
carried you through the
Last year.
Jason Tatum years. I mean, he was an
Yeah.
MVP candidate. The boy is you're
Yeah.
underrating him, but now you're overrating him because you're asking for 4 first-round picks. And come on, I can see one, maybe two, but four
Four.
4 first-round picks. Come on, man.
Four.
But nah, he's going to get out of there, and somebody will offer it to him. I somebody will offer it to him. Somebody will negotiate. They may not get 4, but I could see them getting maybe another player, 2 first-round picks, and maybe second-round picks in the NBA mean absolutely nothing. Maybe 3 first-round picks, but that's even high. That's a lot. But I'm sure they'll get somebody to do it now. If it wasn't for the fact that he's such a head case and nobody really wants to take a chance on him, I think a great trade would be a John Morant for Jaylen Brown. That would
Ooh.
be an amazing trade, but
Ooh.
you just can't trust Ja's attitude.
Right.
Now you get him up there in Boston. Yeah, I mean it's cold up there. He ain't got
Right.
all year long to be riding around waving guns and shit. So that could be a possibility. That's just something that I would think about if I were the Celtics. If you think you can handle his attitude,
Hey, Paul Pierce got stabbed up there, so you never know. I guess.
I thought he was in a Miami club when he got stabbed.
No. He was in
He was in
Boston.
a
He was
Boston
up.
club. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
knew he
Yeah.
played for the Celtics then, but I thought he was in the
Yeah.
Miami club when he got
Yeah.
stabbed.
I think Benzino allegedly stabbed him up, or Benzino's boys slapped
Oh,
him up,
that's
or
right. I
whatever.
forgot
Yeah. I remember
Benzino.
about that.
That's the
Yeah.
Boston gang up there.
Exactly. And so, yeah, he's worth at least 3 first-round picks. I think this guy averaged 26 last year. He's been a 20+ scorer several years. He basically carried that team all the way up through most of the season until Tatum came back. And I mean, you talked about it. I thought they kind of rushed Tatum back
They did.
to get into the playoffs and everything. And to me, I think that might have kind of messed up their chemistry in some aspects. I mean, he could carry a team. He's proven that. He's proven that he's a reliable scorer. He's a reliable defender. Yeah, he says some kooky things sometimes, but there are a lot of kooky people in the league, and they're great players. And I, I, I just don't understand what this desire to move him every year has been. Because Tatum's okay, but you never know. Tatum might be injury prone. I mean, he's coming back from a torn Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be able to last a full season? He's getting a little older. I mean, both of them are young. They're on the right side of 30. And so, I think they could build on that, but I guess they don't think they can build on that. And so I think a young team like Portland made the playoffs last year. Maybe they be able to give up that package. Someone mentioned Golden State. I don't know about Golden State, because if they get that up, I don't know what's going to happen in the years after Steph leaves there. And you really don't have too many assets. You got the picks, maybe, and Butler is coming off a torn Achilles as well. You can offer him up, but I don't know if that works. Butler goes there. He usually has a good
Yeah.
honeymoon period before he starts pissing people off. And so we'll see what happens with them. I think he can carry a team. I think he's worth at least 2 to 3 first round picks, but not 4. If you're giving up 4, you basically saying you don't care about your future. You're gonna ride this guy out, and he signed for the next 3 years. And so I think that's the great thing as well. So you're getting a guy really, of course, you want to re-up him. You come in, he comes in, you're going to want to extend him immediately, but you don't have to because he's still got 3 years as well. And so I think it's a good asset. I thought this is the trade that the Bucks probably should have taken.
That's what I was thinking. Why they
Yeah,
turned that trade down, I have no
yeah,
idea. Unless they are maybe they're in full rebuild mode.
yeah.
You are taking on a guy with some age. Just like if Golden State were to take it, you're just making an old team older longer.
Right.
So now I will say this, because I have tendencies down in DC. This is a trade DC should make. This is one of them trades that the
Mm.
Wizards should make. You'll fill the stands. You'll get a guy that can actually carry the team. Then at that point you can go ahead and let Trey go, because he opted out. Obviously they're going to try to re-sign him, but you never know if he's going to resign. You don't need Anthony Davis. You're definitely going to get rid of him. This is a guy that you carry. Now, does he have a no trade clause or anything? Does he have to approve the team? Because if he does, he ain't going to DC. He want to
Yeah,
go
I
where?
think he has some preferences, and so
Okay,
I don't
okay,
think it's a no trade, but they're going to have to trade him to a team that knows that they can extend him.
okay. A contender and a
And yeah,
contender.
and a contender
Okay.
as well, because he's not just going to go to Washington. He's not going to go to a bot like a Sacramento, because there's no guarantee, and I'm sure he wouldn't give them a guarantee that he would resign.
I
All right.
mean, you
Mhm.
uh the Spurs have what's his name under contract, and he's coming off of a horrible finals. Look at
uh
that trade right
uh
there.
De'Aaron Fox. I don't
Yeah,
think
look at that
anybody
trade
was
right
De'Aaron
there.
Fox.
But they not giving up no picks for. They definitely not going to give up that many picks for him.
I saw some meme about De'Aaron Fox. Guy, somebody said, "Yeah, if I heard a NBA player was trying to holler at my girl and she said it was De'Aaron Fox, I wouldn't be worried because he's gonna miss."
How can your whole career down to one finals, man?
Right?
You've been
Hey,
a perennial star your whole career, and then one finals has ruined all of that.
you can't wilt on the big stage, baby.
You can't. You absolutely can't.
All right, man. Let's talk about Calvin's boy Austin Reeves, AR-15. He intends to sign a 4-year, $185 million maximum contract to return to the franchise with the Lakers, with a player option for the final season of 2029-2030. Reeves lands the richest contract for an undrafted player in NBA history. Calvin, does this signal the end of LeBron's tenure in LA?
Everything in LA for the past year or two has been signaling the end of LeBron James as a Laker. It's really hard to say. One thing I will say is that what LBJ has been doing is advocating for a guy like Austin Reeves. He's always been advocating for some of these lesser known guys, and they seem to get traded away and have success at other places. You look at Julius Randle, look at what's his name that just won, best friends with Jalen Brunson on the Knicks that just won a championship. There's quite a few Lakers that have gone on to get
Yeah.
some other success. But I mean, it's a good move. He's a Laker. He's been playing well. He's not a superstar, but he's a solid piece and he's a needed piece. You can't afford to lose him. So you're gonna have to pay him. Um, so hey, I mean LBJ, he may stay, he may go. I just wish that if he were to have gone, now they're looking at some sort of sign and trade deal because you still want to try to get something for him. You just don't want to let him walk. He's still a commodity to somebody.
I think I agree with you trying to sign LeBron signing trade. I don't think LeBron is in their future plans. I heard something the other day that Luca, in signing with the Lakers, he talked with the front office and he was saying that he needs a list center, and it's not many of them in the league, but he needed a good, very, very, very good center to go along with him. And okay, you give Reeves all this money. We pretty much know that their future is Reeves and Luca, and whatever they develop or sign after that. Yeah, and so I think this might be a signaling for that the LeBron era in Los Angeles is pretty much done. And people have, hey, maybe he can, maybe he goes back to Cleveland, which I don't think he's already done that. It doesn't seem like he does a lot of do-overs. And so maybe there's a fresh team. I'm not quite sure. Golden State, I don't know. And so, but yeah, I think this signals kind of like they're moving in a different direction of building the roster. I mean, they took a great one run with LeBron. They won the fake NBA championship.
The most difficult
During COVID.
championship ever in the history of the NBA.
They
I
won.
know.
They
I,
won.
I know. I know. I
No,
know.
the COVID championship that don't count. They won a fake
The most
NBA
the
championship.
most difficult championship ever in the history of the NBA and ABA and college basketball.
And they won the first NBA Cup, in which they put up a banner for. And so, they won some stuff with LeBron, and it's probably time to move on to the next thing. And so we'll see what happens. We're seeing a lot of people getting signed, getting traded, and all those things. The NBA free agent season is in full spring, and with that, we saw a very big trade happened the other day with the Hornets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Hornets, they traded their star guard LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Timberwolves for Nas Green and a series of draft picks. In addition to Reed, the Hornets, they get several unprotected first round picks and third and second and 3 second round picks. And Charlotte also gets a first round pick swap in 28, 29, and 30. Does this trade help the Timberwolves get over the hump in the Western Conference Finals? They've made the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row, could not break through to get to the finals. Uh, will this trade help them get to the finals?
It's difficult to say get to the finals because you still got OKC there, you still got San Antonio there, which
Right.
should be
You
battling
got
for the
Lakers.
next
Lakers
few
won
years.
I think the Lakers won 50 plus games last year. I mean,
Yeah, you got
yeah. You
some
got
strong
Denver
teams,
Nuggets still there.
but
Although they
now
beat the Nuggets in the playoffs the last couple of years.
yeah, now this will definitely move the needle for them a little bit. I think it gives them a stronger case. And again, we never know with injuries and certain things like this. But the main thing this says is that, hey, we're getting a little more help. And these are two guys together on the court. I mean, these are two guys that if you actually watch them play, this is what you want your NBA to be. These are two guys that can actually play the game and have fun while playing the game. Like they're exciting players. You want them on your team. You hate them if they're not on your team, but they can move the needle for any organization. And you got these two together. I'm looking for some exciting basketball down in Minnesota. You still got Gobert down there who no matter what we say about him, I mean, he
Good
got
defensive
banged up and
presence.
choked out by Draymond, but he was
Right.
still a top. He's still a top defender in the league, and all if it wasn't for Wemby, would have probably won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, the team is not bad, and again, last year was the only year in the past three they didn't go to the Western Conference Finals, and this is knocking off the potential champions what everybody thought which would have been the Denver Nuggets. They are the sole reason why the Denver Nuggets do not have multiple rings. So yeah, man, I like this trade. I like this move. And shout out to, and we've said this before, shout out to LeVar Ball. Y'all talked about him so bad back in the years. He ain't this, he's a terrible father. Look at his son. Is LaMelo still in the league? Is he still in the league?
Uh, yeah, the
Not
not
LaMelo.
Lamelo, the other ball, the first ball.
The first one. The
Yeah,
first
he's
one.
still in the league. He
Look, that's 2 out of 3. That's
yeah.
2 out of 3. Come on now. Shout out to
Yeah.
LeVar Ball. Happy Father's Day, LeVar Ball.
As a matter of fact, I just read something. He had his foot amputated or something.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
this was
and the
this
wife
was a
left him
couple
after
years ago.
after 30, 40 years or
I didn't
something.
know
Yeah,
the
his wife.
wife
Yeah, the
left.
wife was like, "You half a man," and she rolled out.
Oh man. See, that's just like you can't trust these white women's.
He trusted it enough to get three out of three babies, three NBA, well, at
I
least
thought
two
don't
NBA
they have
players out
four?
of him.
Don't they have 4 babies? Don't they have a daughter or something? There's a
I don't
video
think so.
of the mom shooting some jumpers. The mom was actually a ball player too. The mom was a
Okay.
ball player.
Okay.
Yeah, she's an athlete.
Yeah, I'm concerned about this because they are
Really?
two ball that no, I'm concerned about the trade. I'm talking about the
Okay.
trade.
Okay. Okay.
Not LeVar's foot.
No.
Um
I was saying really about the two of them teaming up.
okay. I'm concerned because they're two players that have to have the ball a lot. They are ball heavy guards. And so how do you uh, uh, balance that out with two players. You know, Ant is one of the premier one-on-one players in this league, and you probably could put Lamelo in that category. I think there's going to be a lot of great alley oops, a lot of no look passes, all those things. Because Lamelo, he's proven that he can hold his own, although he takes these crazy threes and all of these particular things. I don't think he's ever outside of last year for the Hornets. I mean, they made the play in. They didn't win the play in, but they had a very successful season. You know, he has not played for a top contending team. I think that brings a different amount of pressure and responsibility. You know, it's different when you're playing for the Hornets and y'all get thrashed all the time versus when you are in battles with the Nuggets or with OKC or San Antonio to go to the finals. That's a whole different thing. And so I want to see how he performs under that pressure. I want to see how they, divvy up the ball handling responsibilities because to me they are two ball heavy guards paired together. And I'm concerned about that. But we see how it works. Maybe LaMelo will become more of the pure passer and not look to try to score all the time and rely on Ant. I'm not quite sure how that balances out. But, when you have two players that have to have the ball a lot, sometimes that doesn't always work out the best.
Yeah, but now were they see? So I look at it a different way. Were they
Mm-hmm.
ball heavy because they had to be or because they wanted to be? So I think both of them were in a situation where they had to be. Now that
Maybe
you
a
have
combination of
another
both.
now that you have another guy that can also take some of the pressure off of you, it will help your health and your longevity.
Sure.
It allows you to, if I'm not hot tonight, I know this guy's hot. Rather than if I'm not hot right now, I got to be hot at the end of the game so we can win. I think this is a great combination. With the
Okay.
two of them, I think it's a great combination.
Yeah, I think it's a good combination as well. I just want to see how it works because these are, two guys that have to have the ball. All right, let's see. Let's go to the. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hit the button too fast. All right, the NBA draft was the other night. The Wizards selected AJ Devonta over Kansas freshman guard Darren Peterson. With the number one pick to help turn around the franchise. The Wizards haven't made the playoffs since 2021 and they have not been past the second round. Oh my God, of the playoffs since 1979, Calvin, when the then Bullets lost the NBA Finals to. Do you know?
Didn't we talk about this? Wasn't it the Lakers? Was it
No, no.
not the
This
Lakers?
was this was
This was
the
something
the
else.
the Knicks. The last time the Knicks won the championship. Well,
Okay.
the last time that the then Bullets made the NBA Finals, who did they lose those finals to?
Uh,
1979. You were what, 7?
I was 7 years old.
Were
Who
you
was
even following basketball then?
absolutely not. I was still following baseball. I was I think
Okay.
by that time I was upset with my Orioles for losing the 3-0 lead to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series. Let's see, 79. Who let me try to think back on 79.
Yeah, I was 12. I know the answer.
We got let's see who we had back
Excuse me.
then. We had the round mound of rebound. We had Will Chamberlain.
Not
Let's
quite.
let's
Yeah.
say the
You said Will Chamberlain at 79? No. Let's see. At 79,
I don't know.
you
Who did we had?
had
Tell me some people we
West.
had. I'll forget
Yeah,
now.
you had Wes Unseld, you had Elvin Hayes
Well,
on
he
that
was on the
team.
book. Yeah, yeah. I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah.
other players
Other
over
players,
West.
Dr. J. Yeah, Dr. J. You had
That's
Moses
East.
Malone.
That's
Uh
East.
yeah, I say in the West. You had let's see, Jack Sigma. That should give you a clue.
Phoenix, the Suns. Sigma. No,
No,
he
no,
played for the
that's
Sonics. He played for
yes,
Seattle. Yeah,
yes.
Seattle.
So they lost to the Sonics.
I would have never guessed that, but
Yeah,
okay.
they had downtown Freddie Brown, Gus Williams. They had a young Dennis Johnson on that team. DJ Dennis Johnson
Okay,
was
okay,
a starting
okay.
point guard on that team. Lonnie Shelton. They had a couple good players on that team. And so DeBonsa joins John Wall, who was drafted in 2010, and Kwame Brown, who was drafted in 2001 as Washington's only number one picks. So with this pick, they also extended or re-signed Trey DeBarge, Trey
I
Young
thought he said he
to
wasn't going to sign. Maybe I
no,
missed that.
no, yeah, you missed it. He did resign.
Ah,
He did extend, and so they extended him. And
I'm
so
so far behind.
will it's all right. The wine and cheese and the charcuterie board. I know you're busy. Uh, will the Wizards make the playoffs this season?
No,
I know you're a
absolutely,
big proponent of the Wizards, so go ahead.
absolutely not. But absolutely not. But I think. Well, let me back up. They will make the play in. Let me give them
Hmm,
play in. Let me give them some play in. Yeah, let me give them some play in. I'll give them play in. Playoffs, no, they'll probably lose in the play in tournament. They probably won't make it. But let me give them play in. Now, first of all, shout out to the Wizards for not doing what everybody else probably thought they would do, which is going to Korea and picking their top high school basketball player to draft. Because everybody was ready to hear with the number one pick, the Washington Wizards selected Dang, dong, dang,
the,
from
the
South
views
Korea.
expressed are solely Calvin Coates' views, not those of all things Black B.I.G. show. You may proceed, sir.
Yeah, so shout out to the Wizards for doing that. Let me go off. Let me go off the topic real quick.
Yeah.
You know the guy that does the wives and the mothers and be like smash
Yes.
pass. He did the draft moms, and I must say this might be the first crock of draft moms that don't look like IG models. They look like just
Right.
real plain moms. With that being said, I expect these young men that are drafted to be exceptional ball players because they look like they had moms that did not fuck around. And the moms weren't ugly, but they look like moms that are like, hey, you got that work done? Now you can go out there and play that ball. You know, you coming back talking about these jumpers. I wish you switch these A's like you switching them threes. Hey
Right.
man, shout out to the moms. So I think these men will
Hmm.
be exceptional ball players. We have yet to see, but I'm gonna start following some of these players and seeing because the moms
I,
were not IG models; they were moms. Shout out
I
to the
saw
real
I
moms.
saw I saw a lot of fresh sew-ins. And so a lot of fresh sew-ins, a lot of fresh wigs, a lot of fresh pressing curls.
That's
Y'all look good,
yeah.
moms.
That's
Y'all look
just
good.
that's comes with the territory.
Yeah, look, y'all look good. Y'all look good. I think they make the playoffs this year. Not the play-in. I
Really?
think you got Trey Young, you got street clothes. Hopefully, if he could
He not
play.
staying. He not staying. He not
Yeah,
staying.
he's staying. I mean, he's gonna be there this season unless they trade
I,
him. And now,
I
unless
think
they're
they're gonna
bad and
trade
they
him.
get to the trade deadline and they trade him, then he won't. But I think they'll be in contention. If you could get 50 games out of him, I think that would be great. And
50.
so, yeah, I think
Plus,
if you can get 50 games out of him, that would be fantastic. And if he gets those 50 games, I know that's a lot. Let's reduce it. Say he get 45, between 40 and 45 games, right? at least half the season, right? And so he get 40 to 45 games. And Trey Young plays well. I mean, they got a great young nucleus. They got Bub Carrington, Baltimore native. They got a couple other great players there that they've drafted over the last couple years. You add that with those veterans. You got DeBonsa coming in. Yeah, I think, in the bottom of the East is normally, a little weak there. I think they could, they could get a eighth or a ninth seed or get to the play-in. And so, yeah, I think this is a playoff season for them. I don't think they go far, but I think they jump started their rebuild. And so now they're in the phase where they should be getting to the playoffs.
I have to say I am completely shocked because as much of a supporter as I am, I try to be a
I'm aware.
Wizards realist, and this guy over here is
Yeah.
not by any means a Wizard supporter. And not only are you giving them play-in, but you also said complimentary. If what do you
That,
call them, street clothes? If Anthony Davis can stay, bruh,
yeah.
you ain't been supportive of Anthony Davis since he signed with the Lakers. I am. You know
Bro, when
what? I
Anthony
have.
Davis, when
You done
he's
shut the
healthy,
session down. You done shut it down.
he's a top 15 NBA player. When
You
he's
have never.
healthy.
You have never said Top and Anthony Davis in the same sentence since we've been broadcasted.
Long as he don't hurt his fingernail, long as
Plus,
he don't stub his toe.
plus DC got as many potholes as Baltimore. All it takes is for him to hit one pothole, and that's it. He out for the next 2 seasons.
That's true though. That's true. That now that's very true. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, now are they going to win an NBA championship in our lifetime? Probably not. But I mean,
Damn,
they
Garland.
they should at least they should at least get to the status of where they were when they had Agent Zero. They
Bro
were
said our
consistent,
lifetime.
bro.
God,
We both gonna
we
be
got we
we
got
gonna
another
be
good
in
40,
hospice
50
care.
years left.
Yeah, we both gonna be in hospice care. Talk about
Damn.
did the Wizards win yet? We ain't even gonna remember if the Wizards won while they wiping our butts. They gonna be like talking about the basketball. We're gonna be like, oh wow, I remember I said that
when
years
when
ago.
when the Wizards make the playoffs, when they make the finals, Garland gonna be looking at me, be like, just like Claude, I know what you're
Right.
doing. I know what you're doing. Be like, what am I doing? What am I doing, Claude? You trying to get the Wizards to win the finals because I
Right.
said they wouldn't. I see your ass.
I'll be talking about Michael Jordan still played for them, right? Anyway, man, let's keep on going. Oh God. Okay. Oh yeah, that was the picks. I'm sorry. And so we saw the picks and all. And so I think these were good picks. I think Caleb Wilson, he's going to do well in Chicago. That's the kid from North Carolina. Cameron Boozer, he went third to the Grizzlies. Hey, getting Jalen Brown there might be good. They had a couple high drafts the last couple seasons. And so we'll see what happens with these young men in the league. Outside of the first four picks, I don't know nobody else. All right, let's keep on going. Hey, Len Bias. Now, June 19th, 2026 marked the 40th anniversary of the tragic death of University of Maryland basketball legend Len Bias. Bias passed away from a sudden cocaine overdose at the age of 22, just 2 days after being selected second overall in the 1986 NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. 4 decades later, his legacy remains one of sports' greatest what ifs. His sudden passing sent shockwaves through the NBA. It altered the trajectory of the Celtics dynasty, and it permanently impacted American culture and politics. Before the 1986 NBA draft, Bias was viewed as a transcendent talent, often drawing comparisons to then Michael Jordan, who had just came out the ACC a couple years earlier. As a forward at the University of Maryland in nearby College Park, Bias was a two-time ACC Player of the Year, and he was a first-team All-American. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bias. I'm going to talk about that day in particular, 1986, June. I was just home for the summer from Hampton University. I had worked at a residential summer camp, and I was preparing to leave for summer camp. I believe that next day I was a camp counselor. I worked there after my senior year of high school, and they hired me back after my freshman year of college. And I was just sitting watching TV, and it came across the noonday news that Len Bias had died of what they thought was an overdose. Very shocking. I called my homeboy, my bestie. I don't go by bestie, my best friend, and was like, "Yo, Darren, did you hear that Len Bias died?" And he was like, "Stop lying." I was like, "Turn on the news. It's on the news." And it was so much stories around what actually happened. He died of cocaine. We never heard of no, Len Bias and drugs or anything like that. And that whole summer leading up to the whole thing, as a matter of fact, they wind up firing Lefty Driesell, who was the coach at University of Maryland at that time. You had all of these, different things happening on the legal level, that it was just so many stories. And it really just frustrated me because I was in camp, so we wasn't watching TV every day. I wasn't getting a newspaper every day. So I was not able to really keep up with what was being reported about Bias. But that day, really, I've never forgotten that day, because for us here in Baltimore, we got a strange kind of relationship with the University of Maryland, particularly basketball. Baltimore was probably the hotbed of basketball in the state at that point. Yeah, Prince George's, they had some great players. You probably had some great players in Howard County, but for the most part, you had major players coming out of Baltimore at the time. You had the Dunbar teams with Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Williams, Reggie Lewis, who we didn't really know but exploded once he got at the collegiate level. You had the Catholic League. They were sending players out all the time. Quentin Daly, you had Tim Coles, you had all these great players coming out of Cardinal Gibbons. You had Dwayne Farrell, Mark Wilson, Pop Tubman, those guys, the Edward brothers coming out of Calvert Hall. And so you had these great players. And then Dunbar wasn't they were the greatest public school team, but you also had Lake. Lake had a lot of great players that were at Lake Clifton as well, that were coming out of Lake Clifton and in Southern. But they were not going to Maryland. That was the big thing. They were not going to University of Maryland to play for Lefty. Lefty had kind of had a couple of Dunbar players early in his tenure. Did not work out well. I think the last best player that he had from Baltimore Dunbar was Ernie Graham. And Ernie was kind of up and down, but Albert King, who was out of the Bronx, New York, was the best player on that team. With Brooklyn, I think he was out of Brooklyn. And so Lefty was not able to get any Baltimore players. And Bias was like the biggest player, at least for my generation, that was at Maryland. I mean, you had other great players. I don't remember them because I was kind of young, like John Lucas and Tom McMillan. But of the great players outside of outside of Albert King, Bias was that player. And we're going into the cable era. So you're seeing him probably more often than you saw those 70s teams that Driesell had. And so, we kind of rested our laurels on Len Bias. Our football team was gone by that time, so we didn't have any Baltimore Colts. We didn't have a professional basketball team. Wizards were kind of, and so if you were watching WDCA Channel 20, you might see a Wizard game, but we wasn't really clocking for the Wizards, or they were the Bullets at that time down in Baltimore. The baseball team was sucky. 3 years removed from the World Series. They were, I think Eddie Murray was gone by that time, by 86, 87. And so we really, our biggest sports thing was College Park and Len Bias. And so that impact, man, that was something very big. Now, do you remember that day when Bias died?
Yeah, it's so crazy. So I was a member of Christ United Methodist Church. Shout out to my man Henry, rest in peace. My man John, who owns Cashland now. We would all
Oh,
go down there in the summer and just play basketball all day. Our church had a little basketball court in it, and then summers we would
mhm,
just. And this was right, in between that time, you just getting out of
right.
school and
School
camp
just
hasn't
ended.
started. Yeah, so we're down there playing basketball, and Henry's dad just came and he was like, Len Bias died. And we were like, wait, what? Nah, what? You know what I mean? It's just like, nah, not really. And this is before the age of the cell phone and social media age. So everything you
Right.
heard was initially word of mouth until you actually was able to sit down and watch it on the news. And it was definitely one of those stories that led all of news pieces. And this was back then where they would break in with the news story during the commercial, and you would see things like that. So yeah, man, it was pretty shocking. It's one of those moments, and I'm not sure if it's like that for the rest of the country, but it's one of those moments here in Baltimore that rivals things like the Challenger explosion, Mike Tyson getting knocked out.
Sure.
Just one of those shocking moments that you'll just never forget.
Definitely. Definitely. The impact, I talked about what ifs in my talk up on this. I mean, this definitely kind of brought a slow end to the Celtics dynasty. I think they maybe compete for one more championship after this, and then the Lakers start their run, and then the Pistons overtake uh,
Mhm.
the um, the Celtics shortly thereafter, and so and then we go transition to the Bulls. Imagine uh, peak Len Bias with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge. My goodness. I think they would have been set for the next couple years to compete with a Detroit, to eventually compete with a Chicago. But that definitely set them back because they were becoming a aging and older team. Bird's back was starting to really fail him. McHale, his feet issues, him playing through a broken foot essentially in the season. DJ's getting old. They had Bill Walton for a season, but again, eventually his health starts to break down. And so that team is getting older and they're not able to compete against the young Bucks who are coming up in the East. And so Bias would have been able to at least help them transition to the next generation of Celtics. And it took them a while to really, really, really get back. And so, and also not only to talk about the impact of the Celtics empire, but the legally, the war on drugs. We can pretty much say the war on drugs kind of got its start with this overdose death because also I think like a week later there was a defensive back that played for the Cleveland Browns, Don Rogers. He died of a cocaine overdose, and so it was this big explosion of okay, crack, which had already been in the black communities, was taking over black communities. Churches were, hey, we need three strikes out. We need tougher legislation to impact this drug usage and these overdoses and all these things. And this was kind of like the impetus to start the unleashing on black communities of police action as well. And so that definitely impact. But I think this is for me one of sports greatest what ifs is Len Bias.
Yeah, man, and you talked about the impact on the Celtics, but the impact on the NBA as a whole, it
Definitely
changes
that.
draft positions. You never know who's going to go where after something like that. But then even going back to college, look at how it set Maryland back. It set the Terps
Oh
back for
yeah.
many, 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 many years.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a ripple effect that even after the sanctions, it hurt them. Now, can you imagine? Had Len Bias been a success and he's advocating for Maryland, you may not even have a Gary Williams at Maryland at any time. Lefty Drizel probably rides that thing out. They probably get some more recruits because now everybody wants to go to the school that Len Bias goes to, that Len Bias went to. You just never know, what the impact is on the whole sport in general. But yeah, man, such it and it's still impactful now because we still talk about it. The family was still hurting, not too long after that the brother was killed. I mean,
Right, right.
the mom and the family lost those two boys in such
Mhm.
tragic ways.
And I
Just
think she passed last year. I think she
Yeah,
transitioned
she
last
yep,
year.
she just passed not too long ago. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, it's just
my niece bias.
yeah, it was just devastating. And you're right. If nothing else, I mean, we're talking about the war on drugs, but the impact in that now we call it the DMV area. I mean, and just the ripple effect throughout the country, like you said, it was one of the catalysts of the war on drugs. It absolutely was.
Definitely. And just for kicks, anybody go back and look at the 1986 draft. I think it was probably about 6 or 7 top 10 players that all got suspended for drug use. And so this was something that was just going on through sports. And then it just started coming to the national forefront. Not only just basketball, I think baseball had a drug scandal around that time as well. NFL, you got steroids and cocaine 80s. And so, let's check it out. So, man, let's go ahead as we talk about real briefly your boy Brandon Sorsby. As we went into the last time that we recorded, we talked about Sorsby. Should he get a chance for the NFL? And the NFL decided no. He should not get a chance for the NFL. They decided not to have a supplemental draft this year. In a letter worded to Sorsby, I think that it was reported on ESPN. It basically said, he can apply to the next NFL draft for next season. They basically was like, look, you only wanted to get in this draft because your options at the collegiate level have run out. And so that's the only reason why you're trying to do this. But we're not going to have a supplemental. You can apply to hopefully be in the draft next season. And after that, shortly, I think it was maybe yesterday or the day before that, the CFL, the Canadian Football League, also said no to Brandon Sorsby as well. That now you're not going to be able to play in the league. So all that's left really pretty much is the Rocks League. I think that's the UFL. And so we'll see if they make him an offer, but their season just ended, so we won't know until next year. And so, what do you think about this, man? You think he's pretty much done? He need to go ahead and look for that job on Wall Street.
No, he's not done. I mean, he's a year
He
in
done.
limbo. He's
He
not done.
done in
He's a year in
football. He
limbo.
done.
He'll be in the draft next season. Somebody
All
will
right.
take a chance on
A
him.
year of no football. He done.
He'll be in the draft next year. I'm not
All
saying
right.
he's going to go high in the
All
draft,
right.
but he'll be in the draft
Y'all
next year.
mark Calvin. Y'all mark CLC's word. We'll see if he's in the draft next year, but I think he's done a year of no competitive football, no playing. This is not like this is Johnny Unitas or one of the Manning boys or even the nephew. This is just a dude who played a couple games. And yeah, all right, we'll see. All right, let's keep on going. Hey man, let's talk about your boy, his little crazy rant, Antonio Brown. If you missed this last week, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip real quick.
If you say Zay Flowers with my name, you're a loser. Zay Flowers beating up his girl and they just let it slide. Zay Flowers fumbled too much. He can't hold water. He sucks. Never mention me with that coward. He's not me, and I'm being honest. Don't trigger me. I really have an aggressive problem. Last name Flowers. That boy the reason Lamar Jackson can't win. Zay Flowers is the reason Lamar Jackson can't win. Ask any one of my quarterbacks, I'm the reason they win.
Okay. I think now we see why Antonio Brown is no longer in the league. CTE, is a real thing. I used to be like, oh, CTE, we don't know if he got CTE, because you really can't diagnose CTE until the person is transitioned and you take out their brain and all those things. But I think we got a live specimen here, Calvin. You don't have to take out his brain. All you have to do is follow his TikTok, because something wrong with that man. And Lamar Jackson ain't win a championship because of the new head coach in New York for the New York Giants named John Harbaugh. It had nothing to do with Zay Flowers. And so, what did you think about your boy Zay? Your boy Antonio here?
Okay, so let me say this. There's something wrong with Antonio Brown. There's something
You
wrong with
think?
his brain.
You think?
However, he's not wrong about everything.
What?
Zay Flowers is not, when Antonio Brown was Antonio Brown on that field, Zay Flowers is not Antonio Brown. You cannot diminish what Antonio Brown did as a Pittsburgh Steeler and try to tell me that Zay Flowers is on that level. He's not. Antonio Brown could have been a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Zay Flowers is very good, but Antonio Brown could have been a Hall of Fame wide receiver. What's the one thing we talked about with Zay last year? Gotta hold on to the
Fumbles.
ball.
Gotta hold
He
on to the
gotta
ball.
hold on to the ball. Now, I'm not going to say he's the direct result of Lamar Jackson not winning any rings, but if he holds on to that ball in Kansas City, we might have at least been in the title game. That was the Eastern
They
Conference
didn't run
Championship.
the ball, Calvin. Who
I
who
get
who decision was
I
that?
I get all that, but who fumbled the ball at the goal line? Actually,
Calvin. They didn't run the ball.
before that, who got the ball and caught a 15-yard penalty because he went off on the defender? He taunted him. I
I
mean, listen,
understand.
I'm not saying that Zay Flowers is the reason that we lost that game, but I am going to say
All right.
that
Todd Monken and
he
John
did not
Harbaugh's the reason we
he
lost
did
that game.
not help you. Listen, that's all true, but the reality is when we had the chance, Zay did cough up that ball at the goal line. He doesn't hold on to the ball very well. We've been talking about ball security. He's a very good player. He's not Antonio Brown, and I'm not even sure how you can think that peak Antonio Brown was a problem, man. Now Zay is good, and the way Antonio is presenting this is all bullshit. Like the delivery is trash. Like I'm not sure what triggered him. I'm not sure what it is. What I'm hoping is that it motivates Zay to get to that level because I think he can. But Antonio Brown wasn't wrong about everything, bro. Wasn't wrong about everything.
And I'm sorry. He was wrong about everything.
Do you do you think Zay Flowers is Antonio Brown? You think he's on the
Oh
level
no,
that
and
Antonio
I
Brown
don't
was?
I don't think he's saying that he's Antonio Brown. I don't think he's ever styled himself as
Well,
Antonio
that's what I'm
Brown.
saying. I don't know
Yeah,
what triggered Antonio Brown to say that.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it seems to be misguided, but it feels like, well, it
They're
from a
two
normal
different types of
person,
receivers,
but from a normal
and
person, it would sound like someone said something. But from Antonio Brown, it could be something that he made up in his head. I
right.
don't know. I don't know.
I think he made that up in his head, Calvin. I think he heard the ghost of Lombardi say to him, Zay Flowers is out here talking about he better than you. And he went off. Anyway, man, we're at the point of the show that everybody loves. Come on, yo. Would you like to go first in your come on, yo?
I'll let you go first. I'll let you go
Okay,
first.
cool, cool. All right, let me go to the next page. Come on, next page.
Hey man, you got graphics for your come on, yos.
I do.
I need to step up my game, man. I'm gonna get me a special
It's
guest
not
star.
moving. Let's do this. Give me a second. I'm gonna stop sharing. We can go to the next page. Oh, you're not okay, thank you. All right, let's do this. I'm sorry, yeah. See, when you try to be cute and the cuteness don't work, this is what happens to you. All right. So you're trying to be cute. All right, come on, yo. Come on, Boomer and Sison.
If I were Caitlin Clark, I would seriously consider
going to play overseas somewhere and get the royal treatment. She's been getting run over, steamrolled, shoved down. This one to the neck last night. Alyssa Thomas should be suspended with the way that looks and the way that it just comes across. I'm like, this is what the WNBA has become. I'll tell you what. If I were Caitlin Clark, I would seriously consider going to play overseas somewhere and get the royal treatment and get real money
from the Saudis,
from somewhere. I mean, there's international.
She can't go to the Saudis.
Well, she can't go to the Russians either, as we saw that Brittany Griner got stuck there.
She did. Well, yeah, in jail.
But a lot of the women actually do play, in European leagues because they supplement their income. But now supposedly their income is going up here, and I know that Caitlin makes a ton of money off the court in terms of endorsements, and rightfully so. But I think that there's a petty jealousy, and she's a straight white basketball player. And she is not being treated with any sort of respect whatsoever. If I were Caitlin Clark, I would seriously consider going to play overseas.
All right. Come on, y'all. I said this whenever we talk about the WNBA, and I've said this on countless times, and we probably can go back to other episodes when we've discussed the WNBA. They have an officiating issue. And the officiating issue is that they're not really protecting their players, not just the star players. It seems like every time I'm watching a WNBA highlight, there is an almost fight between players. Players are getting butchered. They're missing significant time because of injury. And it's all to how the game is being officiated. They have to do something about the officiating of the games. Now, Alyssa Thomas is known as a hatchet woman. This is not the first time she done cut somebody up. If you watch some of the Unrivaled games and some of her other WNBA games, she's been known to throw, a little elbow here, a little push there. She is the WNBA's Rick Mahorn. She's the WNBA's Charles Barkley in some aspects. She plays a very physical game. And I think the issue, it doesn't have to do with Caitlin being a straight white woman, because there's straight black women in the WNBA that's getting butchered too. Okay? There's other straight white women in the WNBA that's getting butchered too. Yes, Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. And we've gone over this ad nauseum. She's not even the best player in the league. Yes, she's a top 10 player in the league, but there are better players in the league. We know that. The officiating all around for all players has to get better. This is not a straight white woman issue. So come on, yo. Let's address the broader issue. This has nothing to do with sexual preference. This has to do with how they're calling the games for all of the players, for the quality of the game. If the quality of the game is going to improve, the quality of officiating has to improve as well.
Hey man, first of all, fuck Boomer Esiason. Look, Boomer, I used to root for you because you were a Terp, and then you gonna call out Alyssa Thomas, and Alyssa Thomas is a Terp. Like, where's the brand loyalty, Boomer?
I doubt if he even knows that.
Boomer is such a boomer. How you like that one? Boomer is such a boomer. Boomer always has something to say, and he's clearly without saying it, we already know that he's a Trump supporter. What does that mean in this case? That he had to drop in, she's a straight white woman and she should go overseas because she's not getting any respect. Listen, I don't understand. First of all, it's not that she's getting fouled more than anyone else. The reason you know about it is because she's a star and she cries about it. You know what players do when other players are a star? They go after them. Ask Michael Jordan. Ask Larry Bird. The difference with those players are they didn't cry about it. They might have cried to the ref, but they didn't cry on the news about it like she does. She cries in interviews about it. We talked about this. Now, when we talked about WNBA, I talked about this when they started getting more exposure with Caitlin Clark, with Angel. I started talking about, now that you're getting more exposure, You're going to have to start getting that social media hate. You're going to have to start getting things that the men get because you want to be treated as equally as the men. And what does that mean?
Mhm.
Now you're getting fouled. Now the defenses are targeting you because you are the best player on the court. You got to fight through it. But what you're doing is starting to get technical fouls because you're clapping in people's faces, knowing you get one more technical foul, you'll be suspended. So now you're hurting your team. You're basically falling into the trap that every other team wants you to fall into. And now you got somebody like Boomer Esiason sitting here, well, she should go play overseas. Really? Because I thought it was America first. Aren't we? And
Mhm.
you saying that during the America 250th celebration? I thought we were there. I mean, what's going on? I think the media, you can tell the ones that don't watch the WNBA. You can tell the ones that are really not into it because they start coming out with takes such as she should go to Russia or maybe not Russia. The guy was like, "Well, she should go to the Saudis. Where should she go?" Oh, I understand that she's making a lot of money over here. She's making all of her money over here. She has a Nike shoe. She has a Nike endorsement deal. But you're telling her because she's getting fouled in her sport that she should go to another country. Not because the referees are treating her bad, but she's getting fouled and they're not calling all the fouls. And she's doing some fouls. Get the fuck out of here, Boomer Esiason. Fuck you, Boomer Esiason. I'm so sick of this country being divided because of race. I'm sick of it. Hey man, let me
Go ahead,
let me
bro.
dr- yeah, let me drop mine real quick. Baltimore City just came off of a primary, and for the most part, there weren't too many things that you could say was a shock. Now we do have a new sheriff. Kogan lost to a first, not just the first time woman sheriff, but a black woman sheriff at that. Um, Delia
Okay.
Attar got moved out by Mark Ruffin, which is shout out to that because I think Baltimore stepped up this time and showed that we're not going to go with the corruption, which hopefully that means it's a new day. Quicey still won. We still had some that were maybe some newcomers. We got some new
Mhm.
blood in there. But where I want to focus on is I looked at some of the districts, and a lot of the districts have at least 50,000 registered voters. When you
Mhm.
look at the turnout for these districts, you're looking at 1,000, 2,000,
Right.
3,500. I don't recall seeing anything more than maybe 3,500 in some districts as a turnout. We got to do better. Whether your candidate won or not, the one you would have voted for, or that you wanted to vote for, we've got to exercise this right. The one thing that Baltimore and the state of Maryland can hang their hat on is that we have not been, well, let me just say Baltimore and Baltimore County. We have not been influenced by this MAGA movement. The Republican Party does not want you to vote. The lesser votes means a higher chance for them to win. Now that we're going into the general election, I'm hoping more people are going to come out and vote. But we know the Republicans are going to be out to vote in droves because they definitely want to flip the state of Maryland if they can. We got to vote, people. I mean, come on, yo. We got to get out there and exercise our right. We have to. And voting in this state is so much easier than voting in other states. There's very little, if any, voter suppression here. You don't necessarily even need your ID. You just need to be on the voter registration roll. You can get a mail in ballot and drop it off. You don't even have to spend any money on a stamp. You can drop it off at voting locations. But we have to get out here and vote, people. Come on, y'all. We say it every year. There's so many campaigns, but we're in this place now in this country and in this world. We're not exercising the right to vote really does not give you a right to have anything to say or anything to stand on. Anything happening in your community, you don't have the right to say anything about it if you're not voting for it. Now, when we get to the presidential election and all of that, that's nationwide, but you're impacted the most by your local officials. Get out here and vote for it. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your neighborhoods. Stand up for your families. Get out here and make a difference. Study the candidates. Even if you only want to study one or two, find someone that you can vote for. Get out here and vote, people. Come on, yo. Let's not go through this again.
Yeah. I agree with you. They said, I think I've read it somewhere maybe years ago, in Baltimore, you only need a couple thousand votes to win, because of the low turnout. We had some seats being contested where it was like decided by 100 votes, by 200 votes. And that means it's been a super, super duper low turnout where you like, it's 3,000 to 2,500. That's, these seats are being decided on. I mean, and so, yeah, we need more people. I know it's just a primary, but the primary is important because it puts that person in position for the general that you want there to vote for. And so hopefully we'll see an increase. People voted out here, but the same thing, I think there's just been a lag across the country in terms of people's faith in the political system. But, this is what people died for. And I think we still have a voice. We just have to use it properly and all. And so hopefully we'll see some improvement of that. But yeah, we're going to see some people challenging for new seats and everything. Congratulations to Sabrina Tapp Harper. I don't know her personally, but she ran a great campaign, and those others that won those primaries and all. We got a Black county executive for Baltimore County. If he wins the general, he'll be the first African American to lead in that seat in a county that is growing to an overwhelming African American majority, and I think that's major as well. And so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. So, hey, shout out to Baltimore City. And like Garland said, we know it's the primary, but if you know anything about the city, the primary is basically the election
Yeah,
here.
you win the
or at
primary,
least
you
has
win the
been.
election.
Yeah, or at
pretty much.
least it has been. So
Yeah, because it's a Democratic city, and so yeah, if you win the Democratic primary, pretty much you've won the general.
that's pretty much it. So,
Yeah.
hey, man, another good show. It's a little afternoon. I think my charcuterie board is waiting. You know what I'm saying? I think today I'm gonna throw up the pinky while I'm, sipping on my little bubbly. Because I like fun fact about me. Wine, white wine, red wine is all good, but I like my wine to have a little bubbles in it. You know what I mean, I don't necessarily need an aerator, but I like the little bubbly, the champagnes or the sparkling wine. I like a little bubbly to tickle my tongue a little bit when I'm taking a little sip, especially in the mornings when I'm
Brother got all types of cheeses waiting for him, but cheeses that most people ain't never have, and so
I have some. Well, no, I think most people have had some Gruyere. I think that's what they call it. I got some Gruyere cheese down here today.
You ain't having American slices.
Oh,
that's beneath
my
you.
God. Let me end this. Hey,
no
again,
craft
we're live.
Slices for you.
We're live on YouTube right now, and we'll be live on all the podcast platforms. And if you have Spotify, you'll be able to see me in disgust as Garland talks about this.
He haven't smoked Gouda, y'all. He haven't smoked Gouda. Brie. You know what I'm saying?
I do have some Brie downstairs. I don't have any Gouda downstairs. But I do.
Are you having it on a Triscuit?
Well, it's called a little crackers I eat isn't a Triscuit. It's called toasted. They're called toasted. They're very.
Don't ever talk about Harford Hills again. Don't ever talk about Harford Hills again.
Hey, man.
Don't ever talk about Harford
You have been listening to
the
B.I.G show. This show was produced and written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas for All Things Black Productions. Follow us on all of your podcast
It don't even melt.
Eggs with craft slices. Oh, that's so 10 o'clock in the morning. We're in the afternoon right now.
Right.
Later, man.
Bro.